Where the hell is Israel Adesanya? Israel Adesanya is a name you probably haven't heard of in a very long time. The last time we saw him fight was February 1st of this year, when he unfortunately looked like he lost his step and speed and got knocked out by Nasruddin Imavov, which would cap off a 3-fight losing streak. And since then, we really haven't heard from him this year. Despite him being the ranked number 6 contender in the middleweight division, it seems like everyone in the rankings besides him has a fight booked for the next year. He's honestly been more of a reaction YouTuber than a contender these days. And in this year alone, the middleweight division moved very fast from him. Of course, DDP would lose his championship belt to Khamzat Chimaev, and then the new generation of contenders in this division got real interesting and basically took over, with Nasruddin Imavov, of course, reaching number 1 contender, RDR having a really good year, only to be stopped by another young and great contender in Brendan Allen. A very violent and scary Anthony Fluffy Hernandez got up in the rankings and is set to fight Sean Strickland, and then Kyle Brahalio is also up there too, with his fight against RDR planned as well. The middleweight division in less than a year has completely moved on from Izzy's generation of middleweights like Robert Whittaker, Jared Cannonier, and Izzy himself. So where does Israel Adesanya go from here? Is he going to be an actual contender? Can he actually go for 2-time championship status? Or is he bound to lose a couple more before he ultimately retires? First and foremost, the answer to where Israel Adesanya has been is just chilling. The guy has been insanely active during his prime. Like, it was actually unreal. He fought 4 times in 2018, 3 times in 2019, 2 times in 2020, 2 times in 2021, and 3 times in 2022 as champion. Considering nowadays most fighters fight like once or twice a year, and most champions fight about once a year, if that. That type of activity from Izzy back in the day, especially as champion, was unreal. So of course that activity is going to go down and down as Izzy ages and we get later into his career, especially considering his last 2 losses were finished losses. Naturally, Izzy is going to take extended breaks, especially at the age of 36. But recently, Izzy was talking about coming back and fighting in a recent training video at Bang Tao Muay Thai in Thailand and keeping it real, saying, "For me, it's not about the belts anymore. I just want to fight. I just want to do things like I did on the way to the belt. I still fought really well when I was defending the belt, but I want to fight more freely. I want to try some risky shit like I used to." Which is honestly a refreshing thing to hear from a former champion. He recognizes that his time has passed. Realistically, he's probably not going to get to the belt again, and he's in the stage of his career where his name is probably going to still generate some hype for a fight regardless of who he faces. And honestly, he's just going to go out there to have fun. And I also like how self-aware he is about how he's fought in the past, because when Izzy was coming up and going for the belt, this dude was insanely exciting. He had a sick finish win over Derek Brunson, a war with Kelvin Gastelum, and a KO win over Robert Whittaker for the belt. And then when he became champion, he kind of started to play it safe and take way less risks in comparison to how he was as a contender, and he got a lot of criticism for that. So now that he's just in it for some fun fights, we might see some crazy action between a risk-taking Izzy and a new generation middleweight. But who does Izzy face in that next fight? Like I said in the beginning of the video, a lot of new middleweights are booked and or otherwise have no reason to be fighting Izzy. Khamzat is injured, and obviously even if he wasn't, there's no way Izzy would have gotten that title shot. DDP and Izzy already fought. We've moved past that beef. Nasruddin Imavov already fought and finished Izzy. Sean Strickland is fighting Anthony Hernandez. Kyle and RDR are going at it, so it kind of leaves Brendan Allen to face Izzy, which would make sense ranking-wise, but there's been some rumors that DDP wants to make his return against Brendan Allen, which would make a lot of sense too, considering Brendan Allen is a young up-and-comer, and him and DDP would be a great way to move up the rankings, or it could be a moment where DDP reminds everyone that he's still championship material. So if Izzy doesn't get Brendan Allen, who's next? If Izzy still wants a top contender, he would have to wait even more, but I think even if he does get that top contender, he would be cooked, even if he takes more risk. The thing is about this new generation is that they're so well-rounded and killers across every martial art. When Izzy was fighting, most of the middleweights were purely strikers, which of course is a big factor to why Izzy was so dominant during this reign. But now, these guys are killers everywhere. But middleweight especially has been kind of getting grappling heavy as of recent. Khamzat Chimaev is on top of this division, but you also have Brendan Allen, Kyle, Fluffy, and RDR, who are all deadly on the ground. DDP and Nasruddin Imavov are usually strikers, but their wrestling is also pretty good as well. Long are the days of pure striking and that type of striking that Israel Adesanya used to thrive in. If Izzy fights any of the contenders of middleweight now, I don't think it's going to go his way. So outside of the top new gen contenders, you possibly have, I don't know, Whittaker trilogy. But at the same time, I don't think anyone wants to see that. Me personally, I would still love to see an MVP versus Izzy fight. The striking there would be elite, but considering they're friends, I really don't see that happening. There are rumors that he could possibly fight Paulo Costa in a rematch, but one, I don't know how many people would like to see that rematch, and two, I don't know if Paulo Costa even wants to fight these days as he continues to pull out. So again, Brendan Allen makes sense, but I don't know if the UFC would prioritize that fight over a DDP Brendan Allen fight. And even if Izzy gets that fight, would it be competitive? I think Izzy has lost a step in speed, and I don't know if he can keep up with the elite grappling of Brendan Allen, especially after a great performance over RDR. So I don't know, if we want to see a semi-competitive fight against another big name, it would probably be a Whitaker trilogy or a Paulo Costa rematch, as much as I don't really want to see that. I also wouldn't mind a fun striking match with RoboCop, even though he's way down to number 14. But whatever Izzy's next move is, it's pretty clear that he has probably 1 to 2 fights left, with maybe 3 pushing it. We're towards the end of his career. He's slower. The new gen of middleweight contenders are pretty much stylistic nightmares for him, and it looks like he's enjoying life outside of fighting these days. But the end of Izzy's career really makes you miss his activity at middleweight, especially at the top. He was fighting like 2 to 3 times as champion, and even if he was boring in some of those, he was moving the division quickly. Look at the middleweight division now with Hamzat on top. That guy fights once a year, if we're lucky, and is always sick or injured. Izzy was also talking a lot of shit too, which was bringing in a big casual audience to the sport as well. And who could forget these 2 legendary fights with Alex Pereira? Look, if you love Alex Pereira, you really have to love Israel Adesanya too, as his career in the beginning was pretty much built off of Israel Adesanya and that return and that villain arc. So you have to appreciate Israel Adesanya for that as well. So I don't know where Israel Adesanya goes from here. Again, all of the new middleweight contenders are killers. It's not looking like he's getting any faster or any better at this age. He's fought a lot of the bottom tier middleweights already. So he might just be a stepping stone for a lot of these younger guys to get towards the belt and just get a name out there for the casual community. Brendan Allen, if he beats Israel Adesanya, would propel him towards the belt and would get his name out to a bigger casual audience that knows Israel Adesanya. And that pretty much goes for anybody Israel Adesanya faces these days. So my hope is Israel Adesanya gets like 1 or 2 fun fights against young guys, or maybe a weird trilogy fight against an older guy in the bottom of the division. But hopefully he doesn't get beat too bad and we don't see him prolong his inevitable retirement. But anyways, what do you guys think about Israel Adesanya? What do you guys think about his legacy? Do you miss him being on top as opposed to Hamzat Chimaev being on top? And how do you see this middleweight division evolving from Israel Adesanya's generation? Anyways, thank you guys for watching, always supporting, and I'll see you in the next year. Peace.